Are you not entertained? Well, I hope to change that because this is Wisco Weekly's online talent show, and I hope to bring you more online talent to entertain you during these COVID-19 times. If you want to be on the show, if you have a talent to display, send us an email at talent@wiscoweeklypod.com. talent@wiscoweeklypod.com. You can also check out our podcast where we feature more critical thinkers in the automotive and mobility space. You may want to know about micromobility. You may want to know about ride sharing. You may want to know the transition from private property to a sharing economy. All of this stuff and more we talk about on the podcast. You could find Wisco Weekly on any popular podcast app or visit us at wiscoweeklypod.com. Now, let's introduce to you our first talent on this first episode of Wisco Weekly's online talent show.
Hey, this is Paul Suhr from Santa Monica. I am a serial entrepreneur in the international education sector. So kind of housing for international students, to be more exact. And I have a couple businesses that I run in this area, servicing schools and agencies abroad. So yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Excellent, Paul. Welcome to Wisco Weekly's first installment of Online Talent Show. What are you going to be doing for us today?
I'm going to be doing a song by Dennen. It's a cover, and just thought it was a good time to sing this song, as it's always kind of helped me through some challenging times and kind of helps remind ourselves of what good we have going and how there's always other people out there that are having a rough go. So yeah, this is called So Much More.
I love it. Go for it.
When I heard the news, my heart fell on the floor. I was on a plane on my way to Baltimore. In these troubled times, it's hard enough as it is. My soul's known a better life than this. I wonder how so many can be in so much pain, while others don't seem to feel a thing. And then I curse my whiteness and I get so damn depressed. In a world of suffering, why should I be so blessed? In Colorado, she built a monument of sorts behind the garage door, where every day she prays for all whom are born and all whose souls are passed on. Sometimes my trouble gets so thick I can't see how I'm gonna get through it. But then I would rather be stuck up in a tree than be tied to it. Oh, what a lot for the fight. But a lot for the fight. There is so much more. I don't feel comfortable with the way that my clothes fit. I can't get used to my body's limits. I Got some fancy shoes to try and kick away these blues. They cost a lot of money, but they aren't worth a thing. I wanna free my feet from the broken glass and concrete. I need to get out of this city. Stay up on the ground, stare a hole in the sky, wondering where I'll go when I die. When I die, live alone for a I'm going alone for a while. There is so much more.
Very melodic. Love it.
Thanks, man.
Well, so you mentioned that you played this song because going through some of these strange, unusual, challenging times, it's kind of a song that's what makes you feel a bit introspective.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, these are really weird times, man. And I think your brain kind of goes in many different directions. And for me, what's always been the first place my brain goes is just how lucky I am to, have a job and to have a roof over my head. And, there's some crazy stories that you just read online. You're like, man, how can I help? And so, yeah, this song just kind of puts you in that right mindset. It's like it's a happy song, but it's not. It's kind of all rolled into one. And I think that's how a lot of people are feeling these days.
I mean, I was imagining myself somewhere off by myself in nature, almost like at the Grand Canyon, and just kind of, taking everything in, taking the lyrics in, taking the melody, taking the scenery all in, and just kind of just being in the moment, being present.
Yeah, that's what you said, melodic, and I really like that adjective because this song is really weird. There's no chorus. If you think about it, there's no hook. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
it's storytelling.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost like a, I don't know, lullaby that kind of puts you in that hypnotic.
Well, and when did you first start playing this song?
Well, actually, interestingly enough, Brett Dennen had a drummer that he played with for years, and he was one of my best friends growing up. So for those of you that don't know, Brett Dennen is a singer-songwriter. He's pretty well known. And so I got turned on to him when checking out my buddy's band, playing in cafes and things like that. So I've been a big fan of them for about 13 years.
Now, for those that don't know either, Paul is perhaps in a former life, maybe a singer, songwriter, musician. Obviously, he still dabbles in it and still does it for himself. But and he's blessing us with this performance. But since you have done a whole lot of traveling as a musician, what have been some of the countries for you that have been like the most memorable?
Well, I mean, so I have done extensive travel both with the band and before I was in a band. With the band, I would say going to Bali was just unforgettable for a few different reasons. I proposed to my wife there. I played at this amazing hotel that was like literally on the cliff face, really dramatic. At one of the best resorts in Asia, in Bali.
When you played there, was it just an impromptu gig, or did you schedule to play out there?
No, we got flown out there. We got put up. We played the New Year's celebration and kind of had a residency there for a while. We skipped over to Australia for a tour. But yeah, we played a bit internationally, but mostly just domestically here in the U.S.
And so, aside then from some of the places you visited, how about in terms of activities? What are some of the more memorable activities you've done while traveling?
Oh man. Well, I mean, that's a hard question. I've traveled and lived and studied and volunteered abroad in more than 35 countries. And so I've done quite a few activities. I would say highlight was either skydiving over glaciers in New Zealand, or some more low key, just kind of living in rural India and just kind of experiencing the life day to day there is like an activity in and of itself. Yeah, I've run the whole gamut for sure.
Excellent. And so, last question then for you. Of all the travels you've done, I'm certain that there have been many mishaps and failings and maybe even death-defying experiences. What's one thing that you can pass on to somebody who could be traveling to some of these 35 countries? Like what's kind of one piece of advice you would lend to some of these folks?
Oh, mindset is everything. I think if you're going to be going out there and putting yourself into unique situations, traveling on your own, maybe to places that don't speak the same language. I mean, you're basically opening yourself up to challenges. And I think the best advice I have is all those different challenges make for great stories later that will be great content one day if you're ever so blessed to be asked to be on a podcast, for example.
Boom.
Everything before this was prologue to this book.
That's right. This is the culmination here of your life right now, Paul.
Absolutely. Yeah.
From here, it's all downhill. And maybe for the world, it could be downhill from here. I hope.
Yeah.
Anyhow, well, thanks, Paul, for performing the Brett Dennen song. And how can people find you?
I'm old school, man. Just phone, I guess.
Well, I won't be giving out your phone number, but certainly for folks that want to get in touch with Paul, you can look him up on Facebook.
Yeah. So on Facebook, if you just search my name, I don't even have Instagram or all that other crazy business, but my company is called Vyasi with a VAYASI, and then I also have another company called ESL, as in English as a second language, housing, so ESL housing. So those are the two plugs.
Excellent. Great. Well, Paul, thanks very much.
All right. Thanks, Dennis. Good catching up.
Okay.
See ya. I can't see how I'm gonna get through it, but then I would rather be stuck up in a tree than be tied to it.